Do you believe that there's any bit of truth in them? Do you believe in them? So I don't know if this is like a yes or no question, because there's some things that maybe years ago we would be like, oh my gosh, that's a conspiracy theory. But then as time goes by, you're like, maybe, maybe not. But then there are things which are just like so crazy that I think if you apply common sense and whatever knowledge you have, you would just be like, this is not true at all. But hey, what do I know? Or what do we know? I think that there are people who probably have found a way to gain from just like peddling stuff in the name of conspiracy theory. So I think one thing is like being able to read in between the lines, just applying common sense and not really just believing someone 100%, you know? So, like, do your own research, think for yourself. But what is research really nowadays? Is it ChatGPT? Oh, I researched this and that. I think nowadays we throw around the word research very lightly. I hope I'm saying it right. Is it research or research or research? Because in my mind, I think to like fully research something, you actually put in work, put in effort, talk to like real people, and like actually just put in the work, not in the sense of just Googling, but there's a lot involved in that. So many variables, different dynamics. You just can't Google and wake up one day and tell us, oh, I researched this and this must be true. So I was having a conversation the other day, and we were talking about the year that we are in, 2026. Okay. So is it really 2026 or are we in a different year? Who came up with this calendar? Do we really have 12 months in a year? I don't know. It was so crazy to me just to think about that. And I never questioned things before. Uh, and now I've just started like not questioning everything, but I've started to like just think about things, right? Yeah. I still respect authority, that goes without saying. But just in general life, I've started like questioning things. If someone says this is good for you, this is what you should do, is it really uh, you know, like growing up, I remember we would be told, work hard, go to school, and then after you study and excel, you'll get a good job, get married or marry and live a good life. But hey, is that the truth now? I don't think so. I don't think it's the truth for most people because school and education is becoming more and more and more and more expensive. So what happens? You finish school, you're in debt, you can barely get by, and it's not a guarantee that you're gonna get a job. And if you venture into entrepreneurship, it's not an easy thing. It needs a lot of work and dedication and just time. And for those who've studied business, it takes up to 2 years for you to even break even. And that's if you're successful, because not every venture you undertake will be successful. Of course, you go into it hoping and planning for the best, but there are just so many variables, so many different things that could happen that could really impact your success. And when you speak to successful people, when you listen to stories or even watch videos online, you hear people say that it's took a lot of failures for them to get to where they are. So yeah, life is not just a straight line. Mm-mm. So many variables, especially now with technology and social media. There's no guarantee that if you study and graduate, that you will get a job and in the line of what you studied for. This is not to discourage those who are studying. I guess there are exceptions, say if you're into the sciences, but not everyone could do the sciences. We are built differently, we have different interests and different passions. And so, what is a conspiracy theory? Let's start from there. Okay. According to my research, which is Google, going back to what I just talked about. Oh my goodness. Or AI nowadays, a conspiracy theory is an explanation of an event or situation that asserts the existence of a secret plot by powerful, sinister groups, often contrary to mainstream scientific, historical, or expert consensus. Okay, so that is the AI definition of conspiracy theory. In the time that we are living in now, where a lot of subjects are debatable, and things that you think are like so scientific and so true and so common sense that no one can even question. In the world that we live in, certain things are questioned now, and you're like, oh, hold on, wait a minute, So, what is a conspiracy theory in the day and age that we are living in? Because uh, I'm trying to think of an example to use in this instance. Okay. Okay, let me use an example. A woman. A woman is a female. First of all, before I even define who a woman is, I am a woman. And growing up, I knew who a woman is. Like, I don't even have to like look up to define who a woman, sorry, oops, woman is. So someone who's female, you know, biologically female. So that's automatically a woman. You have so an adult who's female, you know, and their reproductive system of a woman is so distinct and so unique and different from a man's uh I should say reproductive system. Is it the same for men too? Wait, that tells you how biology was not my favorite subject. Yeah, so the human reproductive systems are different for female and for male. So this is something that you would not think would bring about confusion, or it's just a clear line. It's black and white for me. A woman is a woman, a man is a man, but not today. Today, depending on where you are and which country and which ideology one subscribes to, it's different. And so it goes back to the meaning of conspiracy theory. So these are so conspiracy theory is an explanation of an event or situation that asserts the existence of a secret plot by powerful sinister groups, often running contrary. So something that runs contrary to the mainstream scientific, historical, or expert consensus. But in a world where things that we know run contrary to the reality, to the scientific evidence, is considered as truth. So it gets you to thinking, so now what is a conspiracy theory? If this is not considered a conspiracy theory, because someone could just wake up one day and say, oh, I am a man, or I am a woman, or I identify as a man, or I identify as a woman. But going to the scientific facts and going to the truth that you can see, uh, all throughout history, the explanation has remained the same and constant. So I'm just using this as an example to explain why I question a lot of things nowadays, because I'm like, okay, so if there is a faction of scientists and doctors, like people who've really studied science, come up and say, oh, so what you've known as facts all these years, that's no longer facts. So this is the new truth, or this is the new facts. So who is the custodian of truth? You know, who decides what's a fact, what's not a fact? You know, what is true now? Is that what will be true in a few years to come? Oh, wait a minute. When I go now into history, because this is just the science part of it. So now what about history? Okay. Have I been studying the correct history? Because the history that I studied is what was in the books, right? So if the people, or some of the people who have been custodians of truths and facts, can come up years later and say, oh no, wait a minute, what we've been presenting as fact and truth is not anymore, and this is the reason why. And their reasoning is just so outrageous and crazy. You see where that leaves a lot of people in limbo, like, oh my gosh, what is going on here? Yeah, so that is just a little bit of a background to my explanation as to why right now I'm really like questioning a lot of things. I'm trying to like, huh, to think through things, to not just take everything as facts or at face value, you know? But, okay. So, and we've also come to realize that not everyone who presents as a doctor is a doctor. I think that's just something that we need to do due diligence on, you know? Like just be thorough in knowing what we are consuming, who we are consuming, what from. Yeah, just protecting ourselves, our mental, state, mental health, whatever we like ingest. It's just like food, when you eat food, whatever you eat affects your health, like directly, So you can't eat junk food literally every day and then wake up one day and shock like, oh my gosh, what happened? I gained like 100 pounds or 20 or 50 pounds. No. And also like you can't also just drink every single day excessively and then get shocked when your liver is fried. You're like, oh my gosh, what happened? Yeah, so we need to like be responsible in whatever information we take in, whatever ideologies are out there, So I do not like just going onto the bandwagon, like just going onto the popular train, whatever everyone believes. Oh, yeah, 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 that's what I believe. That is not something I intentionally go out there doing, like, oh my gosh, so this is what it is. Or just the fact that someone can come on here and present very confidently, telling us, like, oh, this is the truth. Oh, believe me, yeah, like I have a feeling, I can feel it. Or I had a dream. Someone spoke to me through a dream. Yeah. we need, first of all, it needs to make sense. Second of all, we need facts. Yeah. And we don't need like distorted facts. Yeah. So anyway, where am I going with all this? I'm saying all this to say that anything could be a conspiracy theory nowadays. And sometimes you could uh, have stumbled on some truths, and the detractors will want to like take you away from that by labeling it a conspiracy theory, you know? And so I think in this world that everything is just so fast paced, we just need to be super, super careful. Yeah, and not believe everything we see and everything we hear. Yeah, just using our judgment and common sense, hoping that everybody has common sense. I think everybody should have common sense because they say it's common sense, but then again, who am I? All right. Maybe one day I'll be able to speak directly to these issues, but now I'm just like putting it out there. Yeah. So it would be very like, so one thing I've been thinking about, especially when it comes to history, we have we are lucky to have people in uh, living at this time who are living in generations past, and hoping that their memory is still good and still stellar. We could hear from them like what actually happened during that time. Because right now, things are happening around the world, but depending on who you listen to, there's always an angle, there's always a twist. So it could be the same thing presented in different ways. And so who knows what will be written in the history books in years to come. That is why I believe strongly that it is very, very important to hear from people who've lived through the experience. And we have a very good opportunity right now that we still have these people alive. It could be our relatives, our friends, our neighbors, co-workers, like just to hear from them, not only one person, different people, and just hear from them the about what happened, the events, and find a way to document these things. And I feel like this would help us really preserve um, truth in some ways. Yeah. Because who knows how 2026 will be written about in 30, 40 years from now. Because trust me, you listen to Channel A, oh, this was you get a different perspective. Channel B gives you a different perspective. Channel C, to think, I don't know if you guys can hear me. Hope you can hear me. Uh, Hold on one second. Yeah. So come to think of it, different channels have different angles and different perspectives. Because at the end of the day, these are businesses, and where there's money involved, we always have to like sit back, look at the situations, the order of events, and then judge for ourselves. Yeah. So I think if all over the world we can all just have like in the African culture, storytelling is a very powerful tool. And all these stories, like storytelling, actually is a tool that was used, and I'm hoping that it's still being used to this day, to actually just share knowledge and information, and sort of preserve our history from one generation to the next. And we actually had people who are really talented in this, that they would just focus on documenting history, telling these stories, so that we ensure that every generation, knows and learns about their culture, their history, their beliefs, and all that's good stuff. So, yeah, this is a challenge to all of us to just find a way to make sure that history is preserved. It's not, I didn't want to say tainted, but just to preserve the integrity of what actually happened, as opposed to what people feel happened or what people feel should be what happened. Yeah. And I actually, honestly, I long for the days where you would have people who are just interested in facts. And I am yet to see that in this day and age. There are those who really try, and I commend them for that. But I really long for the day when, you know, facts would just be presented as facts and all our biases would be put to the side, which is hard to do because we are human at the end of the day. But if this was the goal, to chase truth and present facts as they are, whether you like the person or not, you know, yeah, I think we need to go back to those days. And then that would really help us sieve through a lot of things and know what is a conspiracy theory and what is not. But right now, we are in murky waters. It's a lot going on. It's a lot going on. And on that, I think I'll end it on that. Maybe we'll pick it up next time. And like I always say, please be a kind human. It does not cost a thing. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.